Okay, so I just finished A Good Man Goes to War. Yeah, processing a lot of feelings and thoughts right now. Unfortunately, the whole river pond, melody song is river pond thing. Oh, what am I trying to say? River song is melody pond. That's right, right? Yeah. I knew that already because of spoilers on Tumblr. So the big revelation wasn't that exciting, but it was still a good episode. I really love that Moffat seems to really enjoy his collaging effect of bringing all the characters from previous episodes and seasons and series into one big group. Like, let's have our Sontarans and Cybermen and just let's put them all together because we can and it's fun or something. Like, it's really weird. I find it sometimes overkill, and by sometimes I mean almost always, but it's still a lot of fun. So who cares if it's OTT? Bring it on! I loved that Rory got to play the superhero because he has been in desperate need of some appreciation for just how awesome he is and how much stuff he has put up with, because he's just been trampled on and doubted and neglected, and he got to wear that badass cape, he got to be the Centurion, he got to tell people what's what, warn the Doctor that he has a sword, so don't hug his wife too long. Like, yes! He needs to be a superhero more often, and in fact, Arthur Duval would do very well in either playing an extra or an important role, a big role in like X-Men, or if Misfits decide to pick him up. I don't know. He needs to be power and capes. He looks good in a cape. Not like people. Some people look stupid in a cape, but he looks good. In fact, I kept thinking it back, like, because I just started watching Merlin this week. Like, he'd fit in with whole Uther Kingdom and red capes and Pendragon Kingdom of Camelot. Oh man, it is late and I've had a busy week, so I'm sorry if stuff I say right now is really ridiculous. As with my whole River Melody songs grew up at the beginning, it can only get better from here. Alright, it's cool to see the Cybermen. Intergalactic Baby Snatchers. Hey. It's taking, baby snatching to a whole new level. Awesome. But not awesome. It's horrifying. Crazy eye patch and disturbing, and people shouldn't steal babies. It's just wrong. And they shouldn't steal babies to turn them into weapons. It's like double no right there. It's not cool. And eye patches, they're so 1970s, or even early 80s. Like, come on. Prince, Boy George, David Bowie, way back then. She's outdated. Let's move on. So it was creepy with the headless monks and the slicing of the guillotine noise, but very well timed. Ace bit of film work there. Really liked that. I loved all the jump cuts to all the different scenes. I loved it. We went to 1880 London, and we went into intergalactic space battles, just jumping from place to place. That was fun. I wish there was more of that. But what we had was good. And it was, turning my pages, referring to the Doctor, because I get bored sometimes. Love that Sultanas are a snack. Sontarans are an alien species. This is just a mess this week. I apologize. I was creeped out by the whole different birthday line from River when she was like, there's not two of them, that's a whole different birthday. I was like, ooh, creepy. See, as much as like people might be like, oh, I love her now, she's their daughter, I still don't like River. I haven't warmed to her. Maybe that'll change in the Let's Kill Hitler episode, but I'm still not a fan. Sorry. It's no offense to Alex, she's an amazing actress. It's just I don't dig the character. I understand that Amy was being upset and cranky because, hey, she's being held captive and they're stealing her baby and all that stuff. But I just long for the old Series 5 happy-go-lucky times, And they did a cut to in The Confidential of Amy's choice when she's all like pregnant and Rory has a ponytail, and I was like, man, that episode was like one of the most intense episodes of that season, and that's saying something. Like, I miss it, and even the lighting was different, and I really hope it does the turnaround. I know Moffat's loving his descent into darkness and despair, but I miss happy times. So I think Moffat with the headless monks, he's just adding to the horror. He's like, you know what would be even freakier? You know what, if we're already fearing statues and stuff, let's fear some headless monks. Why not? Why not? Soon he'll have us fearing fingerless gloves or something, you know, everything and anything. I bet he has a checklist. Yeah. Just going through them. Like Santa or something. I loved, though, when the Doctor disappeared again, though, and it was like, I'm a phantom, I'm a trickster. That was very cool. Very genius bit of suspense and just fun, really. I didn't like, though, again, people died then unnecessarily, and he sort of seemed very flippant about it. I know he was turning the army against each other, but he's doing it a lot lately, which I guess was the whole point at the end of the episode, and River's like, careful, Doctor, you keep going down this road, and you won't be a healer anymore, which is good, because as I mentioned last week, that it really needed to be addressed, and I guess the repercussions are sort of kicking in. It's dawning on him that pretty much all of Season 5 and Season 6, he's just been going around killing species, and not really... He needs to take I found myself thinking, you know what he needs to do? He needs to sit down and take a leaf out of Batman's book. I know that sounds really random, but Batman, at least in the movie versions, I don't read DC, so I'm a Marvel girl, but he tends to just punch people and save the day without killing people, if he can help it, as do most superheroes, not including Wolverine, because he just shanks everybody. But, you know, like, yeah, I just feel like less with the destruction and more with the momentarily unconsciousness until you can be held prisoner and dealt with for trying to kidnap babies or something. I don't know. There was a lot of adult subtext going on between some of the characters, particularly, I have forgotten the name of the species. The green alien species, sorry, and her partner. That was very fun. So kudos to Moffat for putting that in. I think he has, though, completely forgotten in some respects that it's a kid's show. That's okay, because apparently the show was always scary, so why not? Just continue a tradition. What have we got here? I think that Rory and Amy are the cutest couple in all of time and space at the moment. Particularly Rory. I mean, he's just they put it all together nicely, and their reuniting was adorable. So they win that title, hands down. I liked that the Doctor's like a 7-year-old, and he's all like, ew, kissing and crying. I'll be in the other room. Like, that's really adorable. I'm glad that he's still a bit iffy about that. But then he did a 180, because when River was there and he's like, oh, I worked out who you are. He's like, oh, but we kissed, and he got all excited and goofy about that. So he's very inconsistent. But that's okay, because he's, 10 men rolled into one? He's allowed to be inconsistent. He's a fragmented man. I should probably just stop. But I have more to say. I'm so sorry, people. The Sontaran was awesome, and I really liked the line that he said when he was dying to Rory about how, like, Rory's like, no, you'll fight again, you're a warrior, and he's like, I'm a nurse. And it was like this big, poignant moment where, like, Rory's died so many times, and it's just sort of showing this weakness, and I was like, oh gosh, I bet you Rory's gonna die a few more times in the second half of this season. I really hope he doesn't, but it was also just really well written. Kudos to Moffat. You know, as much as you torture us, Moffat, you're an amazing writer. So, my invisible hat off to you. I also loved that the Doctor was just like, all we ever do is sexy fish vampires sort of thing. I was like, yeah, remember the good times? There were hints of those. I was like, I do remember sexy fish vampires, but they were scary. Well, not scary, they were odd. I loved, I'm getting kind of over it, but I still also kind of liked that when he's like, it's mine, and the Doctor was like, it's mine, and Rory's like, what's yours? And I was like, oh no, not my baby, not surely after all this time, but we went the cot, and let's just let that be the end of the whole Dr. Amy shippage. Is it his baby sort of thing? Because let's just close the book on that chapter. Thank you very much. Just no more. What else have I written? oh my goodness, the Lorna and the Doctor scene was absolutely heartbreaking. That was really tragic, and I'm so sad that that had to end that way, but Moffat does like a good tear-jerking moment, so it would not be complete without one. The Confidential just made me, as I mentioned before, just made me miss all the happy times in the previous series before. And then Moffat said that thing about how, there's an answer to the question like, which door? Is it door 2 or door 3? And the answer is door 2, but you need the answer to be just as good as the door, as the question. And sometimes, can the question and the answer just be simple, like, do you like ice cream? Yes, I love ice cream. Done. And it can be a happy answer, like, I love ice cream. Mint chocolate chip ice cream is my favorite. Or, yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be happy. They can all go for Sundays on Pluto. I'm willing to throw in the spacey wastiness. Just, basically, after that episode, as awesome as it was, and confusing, I would just like a little bit less intensity and a little bit more happiness. And I'm still rather convinced that River was the one that killed the Doctor, but I was convinced of that a long time ago. And then because that is so predictable, I wonder if Moffat is doing it on purpose so that we think that, but it's really not that, unless he's doing like a double bluff where we think it's that, but then we think, oh, it can't be that, but then it really is that. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I should just end this here. Sorry for being very rambly and really unsuccinct this time. You have my apologies. Toodles.